For fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 20 Ultimate Team coins, make sure you guys go check out my sponsor U4GM Coins. Use code Venom at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venomfire here, back from the video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys another defense I like to run to confuse my opponent. This is again more of a pass defense, but you could actually it's more of a concept. You could really run this concept out of any formation, specifically not just the one I'm running. The one I'm running though is going to show you how to defend the pass, but if you were struggling against the run pass hybrid, you could run this out of a more heavy set, similar to a 3-4 odd. So the formation I'm going to be running this out of is 1-4-6. And the play we're running is just a simple cover 2 man. Now, first things first, I'm just going to show you how you can do a blitz out of it before we hop into any coverage. So I'm just going to come out in a 5 wide just to show you how it works really quickly. Again, all I'm going to do here is just manually blitz this wide cornerback. And then what I'm going to do is just click onto him, move him in a couple of steps, slant outside, and contain. So here's a look at it. You want to move him right about there. And yeah, it's pretty much all for the blitz. Snap the ball, and he's going to shoot in free. Similar to that cover 2 sink blitz. Carson Wentz broke the sack there, but you saw very quick blitz. Again, it's similar to that cover 2 sink, if you know what I'm talking about. Pretty much the exact same concept, and this is just a good way. Like I mentioned earlier, we're not just going to be running stock man-to-man. I'm going to be doing a lot of adjustments, so I'm just focused on the blitz right now, showing you how that works. Again, though, you're just going to manually blitz him. The wide cornerback, you're going to slant your D-line outside, and then just go ahead, QB contain, bring the corner into the contain like so, and then you can go ahead, snap the ball. Now, this doesn't work every time. I've seen it against specific formations like bunch where it doesn't work, and it's not going to be the best blitz. I wouldn't recommend doing this every single play. Just occasionally you can mix it in if they're in an empty set or you notice that they're sending 5 routes out every time. This is definitely a solid thing that could work for you. So with that being said, let's just go ahead, hop into the coverage portion of the video. Again, I just wanted to go over the blitz very briefly because that's something that you could really mix in, but if I'm going against a bunch or something, for some reason this blitz just isn't as good. And let's just come out in a stock bunch trail here. Alright, so against specific formations like bunch or heavy set formations where there's 3 receivers on one side, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to base a line. Now, basically just the reason is so we can get the corner over here. We want our formation to be symmetrical, at least for the coverage. If I was to run stock man-to-man, that's something I could do. But anyways, what I like to do personally is I actually like to go ahead, press. You don't have to, again. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put these 2 cornerbacks, Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis, my 2 slot corners, in curl flats. The way you do that is you just double tap Y, press LB, and then go to curl flat, and then you can do the same thing with A. It's going to look like this. So simply 2 adjustments in. Here's a look at our coverage. And the next thing you're going to do is put both your linebackers in hook curls. So it's going to be something like this. Now, again, this is just going to be the base defense. I'm going to talk about certain things that your opponent's doing that may be beating this and how I like to stop them and adjust out of my base defense. But again, this is just the base defense, so don't really overthink it. I'm going to be talking about some other stuff later in the video. But yeah, here's a pretty good look at our base defense. And again, we have these 2 safeties here. Specifically against bunch, I'm going to use our Xavier Woods here. And yeah, just the good thing is that we always want at least this solo guy manned up. If we have to, this guy would be the guy that I would not man up. Maybe I go with something like this as far as the coverage, but at that point I might as well just run a stock cover 3. You want to have these 2 guys manned up, and this is going to be a really good concept, not just against heavy pass sets like bunch, but it's going to be good against like those I-form passers. Obviously not out of big dime, but just whatever. So again, let's just go ahead, snap the ball. Again, I could run these little cloud flats as well, so I can sort of lurk down, lurk back up right there. You see the corner route's going to be bagged. You hope that you get pressure pretty quickly. Geez, DeMarcus Lawrence can get some pressure. You know, the Eagles do have a very good offensive line. I'm only rushing 3 people, so again, that's probably the reason I'm not getting any pressure at all. But again, the setup, it's baseline press. I'm putting LB in a curl flat, which is just the left stick to the right. I'm putting A in a curl flat, and then I'm just leaving my safeties, and I'm just putting these two zones in hook curl. So here's a look at the D again. Now, something that I like to do if I'm using the safety, again, I could also use one of these linebackers, but something I like to do if I'm using the safety. So let's say I wanted to use Chris Westry's 94 speed. And if you're an ultimate team, you want to use your user, Sean Taylor, or whatever. So in that case, typically what I like to do is I like to put just the safety in the middle third. He's going to defend deep posts, streaks up the middle, things like that. And then I can just use Westry. I still do have 2 hook curls, so I don't really have to lurk down on too much. I can go outside, lurk a corner route. I can lurk a crossing route. And that's something that I think is really useful with this defense. Again, let's say I catch on to some of the tendencies. I notice that there's going to be a drag every single play. I could go ahead, put LB in a hard flat. I could run something similar to this. And again, it's really just catching up on tendencies. If you see him running verticals or whatever, a man-beating route right here with Jackson, I could always adjust to that and maybe run something like this where he's not going to get burnt. But for the most part, this is just going to be very good, solid stock coverage. And you see pretty much everything is going to be defended. And you can always also leave that slot cornerback manned up on the wide receiver. What I mean by that is I could always just go like this. Hold up, just got to set it up. So I could run something like this, user the right player. But again, that's a little bit risky because if they have a couple of quick beating routes, then that could always get stopped. But you see there, pretty solid coverage. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to try and hop into just some other random formations. The Eagles' offense is pretty terrible, or their playbook's pretty terrible. But as far as some of the concepts, you could really treat this as a trade wide flex, whatever. I'm just going to show you how you can actually set that up. So again, with this formation, I still want the symmetry of the set. So I'm still going to baseline press, even though I have 3 receivers on one side, again, similar to the bunch. Now, I'm going to hop into a little bit of a different setup. It's still a very similar concept, but what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to actually put my linebackers in the curl flats, and I'm going to put these cornerbacks in the vert hooks. Now, basically, the only difference between these two concepts is that the linebackers are going to be going out, so you might even want to spread your linebackers, try and get them out a little bit. But the difference is just the vert hook to hook curl. Again, I personally prefer the vert hooks, but sometimes when you're running this, all they have to do is a little out route and you're pretty much done. So it's a very risky defense, but it definitely does work against compressed sets. I would say a little bit better than these sort of spread out formations that you see, similar to this trio, but again, very decent concept. And yeah, I can still always man up the tight end. I don't really have to worry about him, so all I have to do is just worry about maybe B on a deep post, B on a crosser, Y on a deep post. B's on a crosser, he should get picked up. Again, I can always shade over the top. But yeah, let's just hop into it. I think it's a regular verticals, boom, using him. And I can pretty much lurk back. Hopefully you get the pressure. But again, you can really catch on to these tendencies. And also, if I didn't want to go ahead and have one of those receivers unmanned up, something I could do is, oh shoot, I think I passed the formation. All right, there we go. So something I could do is, again, I don't have to go ahead baseline press. What I could just simply do is maybe I put B in a soft squat, and then maybe I just leave those 2 players manned up, or I go with something like this still, which is a still very good concept. But again, this is a very adjusting defense. And like I mentioned, you could always go like this, but the thing is, if they put Y on a streak, you're kind of cooked. I could always user him. Maybe I leave Westry. I like to leave Westry in this deep half, though, to defend A or any deep crossers, deep posts. But yeah, it's a very solid defense. Again, you could really mix up between using the free safety rather than the strong safety. Really confuse your opponent, similar to this. And again, I could snap the ball. Hopefully, you see pretty much everything is going to be covered. And the good thing about the vert hooks is the vertical hooks, actually, you just notice they matched onto the verticals. So a lot of times, maybe against man coverage, they're going to use that vert, just a streak route to beat it. And the vert hook actually matched onto the streak, which would have been wide open if I wasn't using it. And that's just a little thing that you can do to become more aggressive on defense. The hook curls aren't going to do that. The hook curls are just going to stay in their spot in between the hashes and really not play very aggressively. But those Vert hooks are going to play very aggressive assignments, and they're actually going to be very good. That's why I like the vert hooks a little bit better, but you can still get beat underneath them, so you got to be careful between mixing them up. And again, something you could always do is put a vert hook on one side, put a hook curl on the other. What I mean by that is just say, look, similar to this, where I would, and this is something I probably actually would do in game, because I know that X, the odds of him being on a deep out are pretty low. So I could always run something like this and feel comfortable that the only zone that Van Der Esch has to defend anyway is going to be a drag or a slant route, maybe going to the other side. So he's going to be in pretty good position regardless. And this is probably the only sense I would actually do that in. But again, when I'm running against a corner route based offense, I always need my slot corner to be in that curl flat to defend it. But again, boom, drag, bump him off, corner routes bagged, and the tight end is covered. So again, like I mentioned earlier, you can go through certain formations, try to apply this concept. The only struggle is that if I was in a big nickel or whatever, I have 4 down linemen instead of 3, so you're going to have one less player in coverage. Maybe you don't have a safety to use her, or maybe you only have one hook curl. You have to lurk down a little bit more. Similar things like that, but keep in mind, you should get more pressure if you're rushing 4 rather than 3. But yeah, it's pretty much going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments what videos you would like to see in the future. And yeah, peace. I'm out of here.